Nobody expected an old diary hidden inside a wooden box to become the biggest entertainment story of the year. Nobody expected a few handwritten pages to reveal a secret that would leave millions of people speechless. And nobody expected Tian Xiwei herself to become the center of a mystery that had been buried beneath snow and silence. Because according to the pages of that private diary, the truth behind her recent blizzard rescue drama was far more emotional than anyone could have imagined. Stay until the end because this story contains hidden confessions, unexpected bravery, and one shocking revelation that changed everything. The storm had begun just after midnight. Snow fell from the dark sky like countless white feathers. The mountain roads disappeared beneath thick layers of ice. The wind became so fierce that even the strongest trees seemed to tremble. Far away from the city, a film crew had been working on an important project. Everyone expected the weather to remain calm. Nobody was prepared for what happened next. Within an hour, the snowstorm became dangerous. Visibility vanished. Cars could no longer move. Electricity disappeared. Panic slowly spread among the crew. Inside a small cabin, several staff members sat together trying to stay warm. Someone looked out the window. "This storm is getting worse." Another person nodded. "Nobody can leave now." At that exact moment, someone noticed something strange. "Where is Tian Xiwei?" The room suddenly became quiet. Several people looked around. She was not there. Her coat was gone. Her gloves were missing. A wave of worry passed through everyone. One assistant immediately stood up. "She was here just a few minutes ago." Another person grabbed a flashlight. "We need to find her." Outside, the wind roared through the mountains. Snow covered everything. Calling her name seemed useless because the storm swallowed every sound. Minutes passed. Then an hour. The situation became more frightening. Nobody could understand why she had left. Then something even stranger happened. One of the crew members discovered a small notebook inside the cabin. It was lying on a table. The cover was simple. No title. No decoration. Only a single name. Tian Xiwei. The assistant carefully opened it. Inside were pages filled with handwritten thoughts. At first nobody wanted to read it, but then they noticed the final entry. The date was that very night. The assistant slowly read the words aloud. "If I am right, then someone is still out there." The room froze. Another line followed. "I cannot stay here knowing that someone might need help." Everyone looked at each other. She went outside to rescue someone. Suddenly, everything made sense. The storm, her disappearance, the missing coat. Without hesitation, several crew members rushed outside. The search became desperate. The wind grew stronger. Snow continued falling. Then, after what felt like forever, a distant light appeared. Someone shouted, "Over there!" Several people ran toward the light, and what they discovered left them speechless. Tian Xiwei was sitting beside an injured elderly man. She had wrapped her coat around him. Her hands were freezing. Her hair was covered in snow. Yet she was smiling. The elderly man looked exhausted. When she saw the crew approaching, she looked relieved. "Thank goodness. You found us." Everyone stared at her. One crew member could barely speak. "You went out into the storm for him." She nodded. "I saw his cabin lights disappear earlier. I had a feeling something was wrong." The elderly man slowly looked up. "She saved my life." Silence filled the mountains. Nobody knew what to say. They helped both of them back to the main cabin. Doctors later arrived and confirmed that the elderly man would recover. By morning, the entire story had spread across social media. Headlines appeared everywhere. Tian Xiwei risks her life to rescue stranger during blizzard. Fans around the world reacted emotionally. Messages of admiration flooded every platform. But the story did not end there. Because after the rescue, someone remembered the diary. The small notebook was still resting on the table. Curiosity slowly grew. What else had she written? With her permission, the final pages were eventually shared. And what they revealed made millions of people emotional. One page read, "When I was young, my grandfather once became trapped during a snowstorm. Many people were afraid to help him. But one stranger did. That person saved his life. I have never forgotten that story." Another page followed. Grandfather always told me that courage is not about being fearless. It is about choosing kindness even when you are afraid. Then came the final words. If I ever have the chance to help someone, I hope I will be brave enough to do it. The internet became silent. People finally understood. She had not gone into the storm because she wanted attention. She had gone because of a promise she made to herself many years ago. A promise inspired by her grandfather. Fans everywhere became emotional. Many admitted they had cried while reading the diary. Some called her a hero. Others called her an inspiration. But what happened next was perhaps the most surprising moment of all. Several days later, the elderly man appeared during a live interview. He smiled warmly. I owe my life to her. Then he reached into his pocket. He removed an old photograph. The image showed a younger version of himself standing beside another man. The interviewer looked confused. Who is that? The elderly man smiled. That is my best friend. And the other man in the picture was Tian Xiwei grandfather. The room became completely silent. Nobody could believe it. The stranger who once saved her grandfather. The same family she had heard stories about her entire life. The person she rescued during the storm was connected to her own family. Tears appeared in the eyes of everyone watching. The elderly man smiled. Life has a beautiful way of bringing kindness back to us. The interview instantly went viral. People everywhere called it a miracle. Others described it as destiny. As for Tian Xiwei, she remained humble. During her own interview, she simply smiled. I only did what I believed was right. The interviewer asked, do you regret going into the storm? She shook her head. Not for a second. Then she looked directly into the camera. Kindness sometimes returns in ways we never expect. Those words touched millions of people. Because hidden inside an ordinary diary was an extraordinary truth. A young woman remembered a promise. A stranger found hope. Two families became connected once again. And one snowy night reminded the world that even during the darkest storms, compassion can become the brightest light of all.